Okay, so I jokingly call this 15 ways to leave your lover. There are actually 15 methods or ways in a purchase agreement that allow you to terminate. And I want to be very careful about this. What I want to say is that you don't want to use that as some way to get out in an unethical manner, right? So 15 ways to leave your lover. What else is covered in a purchase agreement that's good for you and me? What's the purchase agreement contain that says Kenson's going to stay out of trouble because of this? What are those called? Anybody know? Not that you ever get into trouble.
No.
But there are a number of these in the purchase agreement that we don't think about, and I'll bet we don't tell our clients it's in there. What's the thing that's in the purchase agreement that we don't ever talk about? There's 10 of them. 10 of the same thing in a purchase agreement. It's called hold harmless. So we think about there's 15 ways to terminate an agreement. There's also 10 places in here where you and I are held harmless. Isn't that interesting? Why would we be held harmless even once? Right? Aren't we the experts? Did they hire us to coach them, to help them, to advise them? We get 10 different places in the purchase agreement that says, I'm not at fault. I didn't have anything to do with that. Not on me.
Because we wrote the documents.
There you go. You have the Indiana Association of Realtors that are preparing these documents, and so, yeah, they do. They protect us. Remember when the seller's disclosure came out? The seller's residential disclosure. What was that called when it went to the legislature? The Broker Protection Act. So we think about that as why we have this seller's disclosure. It wasn't for the consumer. It had nothing to do with the consumer. It had everything to do with us. It's like, oh, the roof leaks? Ain't on me. Oh, the furnace is 20 years old, it quit working? Not my fault, right? Who do we put that on now? We put all the burden on the seller of the property. We took it completely off our shoulders. Okay, so what's interesting is in that very first line it says, for the consideration and subject to the following terms. Which means that everything below that, this offer is subject to. Now, isn't subject to a termination phrase? Well, it sure is. I mean, anything in there, if it's subject to that, could be terminated. Because it's subject to that. Everything is subject to something. So that's what the way this purchase agreement starts out, is that it's going to be subject to these things meeting agreement. What's on the very last page of this? What do lines 441 through 460 do? What do they accomplish? They create the agreement, right? So these are all the terms of the agreement, but you don't have an agreement until you finish it.